Hello, everybody. Welcome to another CMX Connect Madrid event. If you're new here, where have you been? If you've been with us before, whether it be in person or online, welcome back. So a little bit about CMX Connect to start off with, if you're unsure about where you are right now. So CMX Connect is a local program by CMX, which is a company based out in San Francisco in the US, who provide training and education for community managers all over the world. And they're actually powered by Bevy. They're actually a company of Bevy, which is the platform we're using right now for this event, where you can host virtual events. And there are actually over 60 different chapters of CMX Connect around the world. We're the only one in Spain, and we're very proud of it. And yeah, if you are in a city or a country that's not Madrid today and you would love to meet with other community builders where you are, you can head to events.cmxhub.com and see if there's an event in your city, or you could become a chapter host like us. So we're really excited to have you here. We'll do a few introductions. I'll go first. So I'm Valentina, one of the co-leads here. I'm normally based in Madrid, but right now I'm in the UK. If you were here a minute ago, you would have heard that I'm actually quarantining, so I'm stuck inside. I am a community manager. I'm the community experience manager for Disciple Media, which is a London-based company where you can build your own private community through web or an app. And I have my own communities in Madrid, which are centered around food. Eat Out Madrid, Eat in Madrid. We have Azota here today, who's one of my team members for Eat in Madrid. Yeah, I love food and eating out and just eating in general. And yeah, the CMX Connect Madrid chapter has been going for around 2 years now. And I'm very excited, actually, because today we have a new team member joining us for the first time. Seppi isn't here today. Normally she is. She is busy doing something else. But we have a third member of the team joining us, Angela. So Angela, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, and thank you so much for that introduction. I'm really excited to be here. So I'm Angela Jin. I am a community organizer for the WordPress Open Source Project, and that's where I get to work with WordPress communities around the world, which is a lot of fun. Outside of that, I'm originally from Seattle, but currently live in Madrid, Spain. So I'm very excited to get more involved here. I'm a volunteer for Crisis Text Line, and yeah, I think that's about me in a nutshell there, I think, Valentina.
We actually met at the CMX Spark virtual event that we held, what was it, April now? And we and Angela met for bagels to get to know each other. And then suddenly she's here helping us. So I'm so grateful that you've come on board. As a lot of you will know, and we'll find out today, organizing events is hard. And pivoting from when we was in person, for those of you that came to our in-person events in, oh my God, 2019, moving to online events is hard, whether they're 4 people or 3,000, which we're going to find out in a moment. But before we get into that, I do want to let you know about a little announcement. You may have seen this, but CMX Summit is coming in literally a matter of months. This year, it's called CMX Summit Rise. It's a theme. It's the rise of the community industry, and it's going to be on August 31st until September 2nd. Online, it's completely free, and this year, all of the workshops are going to be free also. So what we'll do is we'll drop a link to the summit. I have it here. I'll drop it into the chat for you so you can RSVP. If you're not sure what CMX Summit is, it's CMX's annual Community Manager Summit that usually happens in San Francisco, but of course it's online this year with the potential of a little hybrid component. Not sure what that looks like, but yeah, the link is there for you to join. But I think we're ready to get started. So, Angela, what's going to be happening today?
All right, so on today's agenda, we have Moncho and Lesley here, and they're going to give us a presentation all about organizing WordCamp Europe 2021, an entirely online event that brought over 3,000 people together. And they're going to talk about all different sorts of things involved in organizing this large conference, from team setup to communication to managing expectations and preparing to address incidents, and even more. Following that, we'll do a Q&A. So if you have any questions, Valentina, we can use the Q&A feature. Is that right? Cool. I see a nod. So
Yes,
yeah.
I just turned it on just now.
Great. And then we will wrap it up by sharing what's coming up next with CMX Madrid. Yeah, so I'd love to introduce our speakers at this time. Jose Ramon, otherwise known as Moncho, has spent 21 years in the hosting industry with SiteGround Spain. As the country manager, he is the co-organizer, he's very involved in WordPress, the co-organizer of WordPress Las Palmas Meetup, and the WordCamp there. He's a global lead for WordCamp Europe, and he's a very active community mentor and community deputy as well. And Lesley Molecke is the founder and director of sales for Corner Shop Creative, which is a small American web development company that focuses on the needs of nonprofits. And she's been working on the web since a very young age, since she was in high school, and she ran her own small web design shop even before she could drive, which is very cool. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Lesley and Moncho. Take it away.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Isota. Ole, ole. And everybody here, welcome. Thank you so much. Hi, Lesley.
Hola, Moncho.
Hola. How is it going?
I have to show off my Spanish since we're presenting with people in Madrid. I love Spain. I'm so jealous that you all are in Spain and I'm here in the UK. Moncho knows this already. As often as I can, I fly back to the north of Spain, and my whole family, all of us, we walk on the Camino de Santiago. So we're trying to go the entire distance of the Camino de Santiago a little bit at a time before my kids get so old that they don't want to be around us anymore. We're making progress.
I feel a bit jealous because I'm from Galicia, I'm from Ourense, and I didn't walk any mile of the Camino de Santiago. I was in the Plaza del Obradoiro in Santiago, of course, in front of the cathedral.
Of course.
But that's pretty old, so it's not too much. I feel a bit jealous.
Yeah. Well, I would join you to come with us on our next leg, but we'll be in the meseta, in the desert, and it won't be very fun. It will be very hot. There's no shade. So maybe after we get to the meseta, then you could join us after that.
But that's one of the main themes of the Camino, right?
Yes.
There's nothing easy to do. No. And today's topic, it's related to that. This wasn't prepared. This conversation, it's like you said, two friends talking about the experience we lived during the last months, and passionate, amazing adventure with a lot of amazing people. So from my point of view, I expect you to join. I don't know, maybe I like to contagious something about the things we lived with the organization team, and finally the event. So, yes. Lesley.
Yes.
Well, I have the power of the presentation.
Excellent. So, well, why don't you get us started?
Let's go.
So WordPress, for those of you, some of you may not know what WordPress is. WordPress is the content management system. In other words, the machinery behind many websites that you interact with right now. So WordPress right now is powering more than 40% of the internet, which is wild, right? That means that today you will most likely interact with more than one WordPress website without even realizing it. So everyone who's involved in this WordPress community are people who use WordPress in some way. They run WordPress companies, they work for a company that uses WordPress. Some of them actually help to build WordPress, because WordPress is not just a software like Microsoft Word. It is what's called an open source community. So the software itself is built by people who are continually adding to it. And it is by the open source means that the code for the software is open. The entire world can see it and contribute to it. And that makes this WordPress community so cool, because the whole premise, the entire idea is that people are donating their time to make this thing into the best it could be. And WordCamp Europe, WordCamps, are conferences that are related to WordPress. WordCamp Europe is the largest of these, and it is a conference that is exactly the same. People volunteer their time to put together this big event. And it is really, at its essence, wouldn't you agree, Moncho? Community
Yeah, of
building.
course.
It is a community.
Well, it's true that we are a lot of people all around the world building a CMS, but the CMS, I think, sometimes is the second thing on the list.
Yeah.
Because the most important topic here is people. Is people, and that's why we are saying that this is WordPress community and WordCamp Europe, because finally events are the chances we have to meet each other, not only in the Slack channel, not only, I don't know, writing a post about a friend or someone or something happening in the community. Events are so important for us that we are honored for being here in the organization team of something so big as WordCamp Europe. And finally, as I said before, we are people, just people, doing something, I don't know, on top of the things we are doing on a daily basis, taking our free time or our work time. I think the final objective is to do something better, a better world for all of us. And well, we are a bunch of diverse people all around the world. This is a picture took on last WordCamp Europe Berlin 2019. It was the last presential event we have at WordCamp Europe. I'm saying that with a bit of sad voice, because I miss a lot presential events. I miss a lot. Online events are great, and they give the opportunity to people that cannot travel abroad to be part of something amazing. But the truth is that presential ones like WordCamp Europe, in this edition in Berlin, we were like 3,000 people in a very big hotel with a lot of content. But the atmosphere of everyone contributing, everyone sharing something, learning is the most important thing. And that's why we are here. Yes. Not only by organizing WordCamp Europe, but trying to share what we have in our hearts, because it's amazing.
Agreed. So while we are going to be talking today about our experience organizing WordCamp Europe, the big flagship event, we wanted you to understand a little bit more about what makes the WordPress community run. And WordPress meetups are one of the big things. So in 2021, even so far, there are already 749 meetup groups across the world. So this is little local groups of people who are WordPress enthusiasts who get together to talk about WordPress and talk about communicating online. All told, it's more than 518,000 people who are gathering with people in their local communities. Of course, right now, those are all happening online, but normally they're in person. Now in Slack, lots of folks who work on WordPress are in Slack all day, every day. I imagine some of you are as well. Here you can see we have over 100 channels in the WordPress related Slack channels. So these are related to all of these little parts of WordPress: accessibility. There's part for translating the tool. There's design, there's communications, all of it. Everybody is thinking about how to make this product better all the time.
And that's, I think, in my opinion, Lesley, I don't know what do you think, but local groups are the most important ones. We are going to talk about WordCamp Europe, which is a party, a party of enthusiastic people.
Yeah.
But the truth is that the local groups is the best way to attract new people for the community, to wake up the interest of a local community, which whatever, I don't know, about unemployed people, about developers, about marketing and SEO. At the moment that a WordPress meetup appears in a city, something starts to rise, something starts to wake up, and finally these people enter this Slack channel, the local Slack channels. As you can see, there is a little picture at the left of only part of the Slack channels I have, the ones that fit on a screen, but there are a lot. Everyone it's making a reference to, for example, Las Palmas, Mexico, Galicia, I don't know, Costa Rica. There is a lot of people.
Yeah.
And
I totally agree. I think that the local groups, and this is something that should be interesting to the community organizers on this call, local groups are, I think of them as sort of an on-ramp to the big events, right?
Yeah.
If you're new to a community, attending that big event might sound interesting, but also probably sounds a little scary, a little intimidating. You don't know anything there. You don't yet feel like you're a member. But a local group is more accessible. There are fewer people. There's more of a chance that you can make a friend, and then that helps you to be brave enough to go do the big event.
Yeah, it's true. But are not meetups the only way we have to do events in a local way? For example, we have WordCamps, are always local, and one of their main objectives is to show the local talent, people doing something interesting in the local community for the rest of the world. Because even we are saying this is a local event, there's people from every part in the world. I remember I'm co-organizing Las Palmas WordPress and Meetup and WordCamp, and there were people of 19 different countries in the last edition. So even we are meaning local, because they are local, organized by local volunteers with local talent plus other countries' talent. They are international in many ways. And it happens the same, but in a very different kind of numbers, when we are talking about the flagship events. One of the most important parts of the WordPress events, because we call it flagship and it has a meaning, I think a clear meaning. This is our best way to show to the entire world what we are capable to do. What is our ways of sharing information, on making groups of people growing, interest and diversity and everything related to do things in an absolutely better way.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So obviously 2021 was a different year, and 2020 a different year before it. There's been a lot of adjustment thanks to COVID. So this graphic will show you a bit about what WordCamps looked like in 2020 and 2021. So there was a big downshift in the number of WordCamps because we weren't able to get together with one another. And a lot of WordCamp organizing teams decided to just wait. Instead of shifting and turning their in-person event into an online event, they said, no, we'll just hold on until COVID is behind us and wait until we can get in person again. So you see that in this graphic. In 2020, there were 7 in-person WordCamps. So that was able to happen. And then 28 online WordCamps. Now in a normal year, in like 2019, there were hundreds of in-person WordCamps. And been everywhere. And
441.
41?
If I know the one, 441.
Aha, there we go. And
yeah, I think in 2019.
If I'm not mistaken, Moncho, no online events in a normal year. Are there online WordCamps? Not normally, right? Because what the community craves is being in one another's presence.
Maybe WP Campus, the one related to colleges and universities. I think that's the only one. I think
yeah, good point.
Was the only one, because now it's completely different. Okay. This is a picture I always like to show, Lesley.
Yeah.
I remember this moment a lot because the whole of this room in the hotel was so big when you saw it empty. But it was even bigger when you saw it full of people. This is a picture of Matt Bulenbeck's speech, talk, WordCamp Europe Berlin 2019. It's something so big, so important that, well, it looks like this. It's something I like to show because I don't know, I don't like to brag or something, but this is something important because it was in that room, I think it shows the biggest WordPress event in the world with the provision of WordCamp US and the future WordCamp Asia that I'm sure is going to be huge.
Mm-hmm. So it was from that stage that we announced that WordCamp Europe 2020 would be hosted by Porto in Portugal. This was before we knew anything about COVID. We were all blissfully ignorant of what was in the future for us. And so we were looking forward again to having WordCamp in person in Porto. What we ended up doing instead was planning part of an in-person event and then very quickly shifting gears and turning WordCamp Europe 2020 into an online event, and then making the controversial decision just after that to also plan WordCamp Europe 2021 as an online event.
Yeah.
At that moment that we made that controversial decision, we still didn't know what the future had in store for us. And we did not know if we would regret deciding to go online and have the opportunity to be in person and not be able to do that, or if we would like pat ourselves on the back for excellent planning. In the end, we would not have been able to meet together in Porto. So WordCamp Europe online 2021 was online.
Yeah. Do you remember, Lesley, 2020 with when we did the decision, when we made the decision to going online? It was hard.
Oh, it was so hard.
It was hard because at the same time you are taking that decision, you are canceling work in Las Palmas, you are canceling your meetup group, yes. Changing into an online basis. It was, I remember, March of 2020 in a very, very sad way. Yeah. But it's true, we took the decision of doing online.
Yes.
And please take into account that we started on September 2019 to work on an presential event. Mm-hmm. So all what we did from September up to February was on an online event. Just think on the number of sponsors. Just think on everything planned and, I don't know, drove for a presential event and now turn it into an online event. It was really hard, but we did it. So
yeah,
let's give some clues about Lesley about the things we did this year. Yeah. Last year maybe, but this year is important.
Yes. So we're going to talk with you about how this all volunteer team put together such a large event. This is a bit of the structure so that you understand how we're organized and how we get things done. So we start with the global leads and the mentor. Moncho and I were the global leads, and our friend Rocio is our mentor. You'll see pictures of all of us in a moment. The next level is what are we called the lead organizers, the team leads. So they are in charge of each team that are organized by topic, by subject. Then inside of their teams, they have team members. All collectively, we're called the organizers. And then we also had third-party companies who we hired to help us make sure that the online event went well. So we had a production company, we had a live captioning company, and we also hired or bought a subscription to an event platform. And so those things made the event work. In addition to this, we had other people involved. We had volunteers who were involved on the days of the event to like moderate in rooms. We had teaching assistants who moderated in workshops, and we had MCs who basically, you know, do the presentations, the introductions of people in between sessions. A huge group. I wish I knew the number. I actually don't. I'm over 60 people, maybe even
72 in total.
There we go. Yeah. All of us volunteers.
The first group of volunteers and organizers, of lead organizers and organizers, it was of 41 people, but finally with production pool, with all the people, we were near of 70 people. Well, please, just a bit of attention. Even you see like a first, second, third.
Yeah.
There is no such important order.
Hierarchy.
For example.
Yeah, very, very little hierarchy.
Yeah, we have the globals and the mentors and the lead and organizers that are almost the same, but the team lead has the responsibility of reporting and making an extra follow-up of the things happening in his team. But the third party are also a team. They're with his team lead and going to the meetings and talking as one of us in the same way. So this is important because even it's like a four steps chain of command that I don't like at all, this type of though. It's practically it's two. So someone on the top of everything and people inside their teams. That's clear. That's clear. Well, what things we did, Lesley.
Yes.
Because when we were recruited, they told us something different. No, at all. No, we knew.
No, that's what we were told.
No. We knew what are our responsibilities and our main tasks and duties, because we were team leads in the past. And we were organizers in the past, and we were MCs in the past, and we were speakers in the past, and we were volunteers in the past, and we did everything what we can do in the WordPress community. So we have very clear the main list of things to do.
Yes.
And the first thing is make your circle of people the best people you can recruit, your colleagues of the community. And with that people, and Lesley and I, we have some ideas. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah.
When, hey, we want to do something different from the past. This is the very common sentence that is repeated every single year.
Every year.
So, yeah, I think maybe it was the second sentence, basic idea of the event format, should be the first one, but you know, it's something that is mixed in time and as a milestone. No? And we were lucky, Lesley. We were lucky.
So lucky.
Big.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had an excellent team. Excellent team. We had a group. So I want to mention one thing very quickly. This idea that Moncho and I were volunteers and MCs and speakers and organizers and all of this, and before we became global leads, is very much how WordCamps work. So our goal is always to bring new people in as attendees, bring new people in as volunteers, and then invite them, incentivize them to become organizers and then become team leads and eventually to organize their own events, because that is what that like ladder of experience is what makes these events great and makes it possible for future global leads or future event leads to know what to do because they've been involved in all of the different aspects in the past. So we had that. But you're absolutely right, Moncho. In terms of this team, we were so lucky. We had a group of people who were very enthusiastic to organize an online event. Everybody was very invested, and everyone worked together very well. There was very, very, very little conflict, and where there could have been quite a bit, because it is stressful.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Thanks to these people, our job was much easier than not in our companies, because we have a professional life, no, and we are managers of teams in the professional life. And this is so professional.
Yes.
This group of volunteers were so professional that, well, that's one of the keys. No, please make a circle of people that you trust, and they not only show their skills in the past, but you see something on these people that can be very, very, very useful for the rest of the team. That is one of the keys. Yeah. It's not necessary, just in case, it's not necessary to follow all the different things you can do in the WordPress community to enter as an organizer. No. But I like the idea, because if you have that experience, you know how it works, and it helps a lot. And finally, I set it in the middle: human resources management. It's our main job. It's our main job. And thanks to these amazing people, it was easy. Yeah, it was easy. But it's true that it's the most, as in the professional, not volunteer world, is, as always, the most hard part to manage people. But in the community, we have some advantages. Experience, the good vibes, good atmosphere, willing to help. And you'll see just a few slides after this one, more of the things they achieve.
Yes.
We also talked with WordCamp Central through our mentor, Rocío. Not too much conversations, Lesley.
No.
3, 4?
Yeah, not much. More asking for guidance, asking for permission to do a couple of things. Yeah,
a lot different things we did this year.
Yeah.
Because we should manage carefully what we do with the sponsors, what we do with everything, because this is a volunteers world, and there are also at the same time companies bringing money to this volunteers world to do something big with WordPress, in exchange of presence, which is absolutely fine. It's of course. So this year, Lesley, we said, wait, online events are not the same as presential. So let's do something different for the sponsors. And say, well, we bring new ideas that finally WordCamp Central say, okay, let's try.
Right.
Let's try.
Yeah.
And I think we'll talk about it in the next slides. And of course, as managers, of colleagues receiving the reporting of everyone, of course, we need to solve issues if there are, and answer questions a lot in a daily basis.
Because a lot of times in a big group like this, where there are a lot of volunteers working toward the same goal, you have this saying, I don't know if this translates well, but in English, we say, if everyone is responsible, no one is responsible. And so this idea that there were global leads gave us someone who is responsible, because otherwise you might have had some of these decisions just get left, just no one feeling strongly enough to make the decision, or equal sides being at odds about the decision. So Moncho and I, as global leads, could be the responsible party for making that decision. Now here you see a little screenshot of the other job that Moncho and I did this year. We were the MCs for the main stage. We had this idea that we would have WordCamp Europe this year be more like a television show, more like a variety show than a conference with, you know, speech after speech after speech. So after each presentation, Moncho and I joined the speakers on the screen and we asked them questions about their presentation. Some of them that he and I cooked up and others that were submitted through a chat, just like we have here in Bevy. And that it worked really well. In addition, the other thing that we did have to ask WordCamp Central for permission to do was we invited our sponsors onto the We did not, we set very strict rules around how that worked. So we did not want those sponsors to come on stage and do like a product demo or some kind of promotion. Instead, we invited them on stage to talk about how their companies contribute to the WordPress community. So back to this idea of community, back to the idea that we're all volunteering our time to make this thing work. And this worked so well, so well.
Yeah, because our main desire was to give some, I don't know, presence, not only in their virtual booths. You know, virtual booths is virtual booths. The name says everything. Yeah. So on top of that, the opportunity of giving gifts, online gifts, of course, you cannot say nothing by postal courier. So finally, we took that decision because we wanted our sponsors, because they are so important, to bring them the opportunity to talk about what they are doing for the WordPress community, because it's really interesting if you have a company and you can learn the things and the advantages and benefits of doing that. This is really interesting, and I think, Lesley, they did it really well.
I think so.
And well, there are some common practices in all of them, but at the same time, everyone had a different point of view. I know I learned something new in every single interview.
And equally importantly, they all behaved. So we had these rules about what was allowed to be said on stage and what was not, and everyone, you know, abided by that, which was fantastic because it was risky.
Yes. I think we are lucky. Imagine someone doing something different and start to sell something. Well, we have resources, but everybody behaved.
Yes. So I think we can go pretty quickly through these next couple of slides, but we did want you all to understand how we set up the teams. So the next slide will show you the steps. The very first thing we do is at the end of the previous event. So you saw that group of people in that huge conference room. At the end of that event, we post the form asking for volunteers to organize the next event. So that happens immediately. Then at the beginning of planning for the next year, which we usually start around September, after everyone's back from their holidays, we determine what is this event going to look like roughly, what sort of teams do we need, and how many people do we need within those teams. Then we look at all of the applicants who have submitted their applications through that form, and we try to figure out what skills do we have, what experience do we have a good mix of gender, do we have a good mix of locations around the world, do we have a good mix of languages, because we need this to be a very diverse group of people that represents the diverse community that we represent. So,
and that's not easy.
It's not at all. Not at all. Our first really big task, Moncho and I, was to select our team leads, the people who would run those groups. And for this, we did look at, have they been involved in WordCamps before? Do we know who they are? I didn't know almost anyone, so that weighed a little bit less, but it was really more, have they been involved? What kind of experience do they have? Are they known as good communicators? Because this is all about communication in the end. Once we chose them and invited them and they accepted, then we gave them the task of selecting their team members. So they were deputized to go and again look at those applications that came in that form and pick the people who would work on their teams. Now, some teams work differently than others. So for some teams, being a native English speaker was not at all important. You could work on the volunteers team, for example, without being a native English speaker. The communications team, on the other hand, needed native English speakers because they were writing all of our communications. So little things like that came up here and there. And then the final thing we do to set up the teams for success is orient them. So explain what a WordCamp is, who we are, how this is all going to work, and then empower them to go forth and make this event. So this was not Moncho and I organizing. This was all of us organizing. This was all of us together making decisions, sharing tools, sharing passwords, all of this happening together.
Yeah. And everything you can see in this slide is not written on a stone. This is something important, because even we have a list, a database of organizers, potential organizers. Sometimes someone quit. Someone has a personal something that's important for this person, and finally this person cannot do it. Right. So finally we have to take the decision. And sometimes, well, most of the time is inside this list. But sometimes there is someone that didn't apply, but we know this person did something special and we ask for help.
Yes.
At least, hey, do you know someone of this list we have who can help us, something like that, or even this. At the same time, the point too is very important because it reflects everything we are going to do. And something very important on the point number 5, where they are located. Because years ago, we have not problems, but it's difficult to manage when we have people in 3 different continents. Because it's quite difficult to decide or agree a meeting hour, because someone has to wake up at 3 in the morning, or someone has to do it at 3 at lunchtime. So we try to accommodate everything in Europe, if possible, but we love having people of every single part of the world. That's something that I like to say, because I had that situation in the past, and it was really difficult. Really.
Yes. So this was our resulting team. You see there at the top is Urocio, our mentor. There's me and Moncho. And then these are our team leads. And they really were all over the place in many different countries. But as Moncho said, all in Europe. So all in time zones that made it easy enough for us to get together.
Yeah.
We clearly defined what each team was responsible for, so that team lead could go to their eventual team members and say, here's our slice of this event. So then the next slide, you can see this is what it looked like once those team leads chose their teams. This is an example of the communications team, the design team, and the live production team. And one of the things I want to mention here, there's 2 important things. First of all, it is very important to us as WordCamp that we promote our organizers. So every year we have this page on our website that clearly states who made this event possible. It links to wherever they want to be linked to. It uses whatever bio they would like, so that they can use it also to promote themselves in whatever way makes sense for them. And the other thing, if you go back for just 1 second, Moncho, the other thing I want to mention is that one of the things that makes these teams work really well is what we call bridging. So the communications team, for example, had a representative, I think it was Janice, was the representative who spoke with the design team. So when the design team needed something from the communications team, it wasn't the 2 team leads, and it wasn't just a free-for-all, random jumping into their Slack and making requests. It was Janice speaking to Tammy. And those 2 would figure out what needed to be done. They would make plans. They would talk to their team if necessary. But that makes everything much more orderly. and makes it also possible for friendships to form, because now suddenly those two people who are on two different teams are working together. And as we all know, oftentimes working on a team with someone else is the spark that leads to long-term friendship.
That's true. And when someone arises, something appears in a Slack channel, something related to design, something related to the content team, everyone knows who's in charge of it. So it's easy. It's a common sense thing, something that saves time, and at the same time, everyone knows who need to ask for something.
Right.
But one of the biggest and most important parts of our job, our tasks, communication.
Absolutely.
Communication.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
and this is the Bible.
It wasn't so much organizing an event as it was organizing communications.
It's true. It's true. It's true. So the first topic, transparency. No, for example, we are taking Slack, using Slack every time. It's only a few mails. I don't know. Let's see how many did you answer, but I think I answer 13, 15. So no emails, because in a daily basis you can answer, I don't know, 40, 60, 100. It depends on the day. But I think one of the most important topics, something that I learned the first year I entered WordCamp Europe in the organization team, was communicate in public channels. Everyone needs to know what's happening. But everything, the smallest part of a task, everything should be set in the public channels, and everyone can have access to it. Not only for your team, but for all the rest of the teams, have people involved in the organization.
Yes. And I will jump in here quickly and say, I don't know how many of you out there are control freaks. I'm a little bit of a control freak. I like to know what's going on, especially if I feel like I'm going to be responsible for it at the end of the day. I would like to know how the decision is being made, and I would like to have my hands in it. So doing this sort of communication in public is actually kind of nerve-wracking. It made me nervous when I first needed to do it, because I thought, well, if I'm having these conversations in the public Slack channel, then people will know that I don't know what we should do. But the truth is, we didn't know what we should do. We were organizing this event for the first time. None of us knew yet. We were making it together. So my own discomfort with feeling ignorant, my own discomfort with feeling like, oh, but I'm not ready. That's just the reality of organizing an event. We were making it together.
I love that point, Lesley. It's true. We don't have any problem on seeing that. Hey, I don't know it. So let's solve it. And that's one of the main things. I don't know, you are the global lead. You suppose you need to know everything? No, fortunately, no one is going to ask you. No one. It doesn't depend on I know, if you are a lead, a team lead, or you are an organizer. No. It's not a problem.
Yep.
Not only Slack, we are using FreeScout, but I think the last line, it's something, I know it's common sense. I know everyone knows that the polite way and the most productive and direct way is, don't tell me anything, just solve it. Let's solve it together. And that's the main thing. Let's see after it's solved, if there is something we can do for improving and avoiding this in the next future, avoiding to happen again. So this is no blaming, no. Oh, I don't know, someone forgot to do something. Okay, no problem. Do it now.
Well, and this also goes to the previous point. Someone forgot to do something. Assume good intentions, assume the best, assume that they just simply forgot, not that they didn't do it because they were trying to annoy you or ruin the event or something. Assume all the time that everyone here is trying their hardest, despite the fact that they're all also working a full-time job, have families, we're all dealing with COVID, all of these things are happening at the same time. So if someone misses a deadline, assume that they were trying their best to not miss that deadline, and now we just need to get on with things.
That's true, Lesley. Every one of us has a reality that no one out of us knows.
Right.
That's real. Every one of us has a reality that is living at the moment you are, you need to have something done, but it's not done. So please, be kind, please, please. It's not hurry. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's okay, but there is something we like to say about how we organize this, because of course it's something also important. The way we meet each other and how we do it. For example, I don't know, in constant contact with the mentor, with Rocío, Lesley and I. This is a constant thing. With, of course, weekend silence and respect of our time. But it's true that we have one weekly video meeting, at least.
Yes.
It depends on the week. Yeah, at the same time, we have a weekly video meeting with the team leads, because we'd like to hear what they are doing. If there is something we can jump in, trying to solve it. There's something that is a bottleneck, sorry. And then their responsibility, or one of their tasks, is to prepare and to organize the meetings with their teams. We are working online. Everything is written. So sometimes, at least once per week, we need to see each other, to hear the people and try to know what's happening with the task. And from time to time, Lesley, because this year I think we did 2, right? Town hall.
Yeah.
Which is everyone is invited to a meeting that we take the chance to say thank you, to give good vibes, to transmit our energy, and of course saying thank you for the amazing things they are doing.
And the town hall meeting also served this purpose of ensuring that people inside of teams understood what was happening in the rest of the event as well. Because often as a team member, you got very busy just working on your part. And you didn't necessarily know. So if you were on the communications team, for example, you were busy writing blog posts, but you did not know that the content team was busy accepting applications for presentations, for example. So it served that purpose of continually orienting all of the volunteers.
Yeah. Of course, for casual topics, something happening now, different meetings between teams. That we can be there or not. Normally it's not necessary, because they know what to do. They know what they need. And if they don't know it, or they need something out of their expectations, we are here for that. We are here for providing everything they need. Okay, and ideally, thank you, Lesley, for the word I didn't write.
I think we had every meeting is documented on the wiki. Realistically, once we got, especially in the end days of organizing, the documentation of meetings did fall quite a bit. But the ideal, the goal for that point of transparency that we made on the last slide is that every meeting resulted in minutes that would be posted publicly so everyone understands what's going on. And if we can't remember how a decision got made, we could look back at those minutes.
That's true. And it's very useful, because you don't need to be in some meetings to know what's happening with some topic. Watching what's happening in the different reports, you can read in our P2. We call it P2. And of course, everything is important. Everything is important, but this is expectations. You know what I mean, right? Well, there is a bad name to say what happens with expectations that I'm not going to say here. But I like to use this sentence that is hypothetically, that Ernst Shackleton published this job advertisement in a London newspaper, I think at the end of the 18th century. The first travel to the Antarctica. People wanted for hazardous journey, small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness, constant danger, safe return doubtful, honor and recognition in case of success. I love it. I love it because, hey, you are not here. Okay, maybe honor and recognition in the team, because we are not here for the picture. We are not here for, I know. Of course, if that happens, it's good for your company. It's good for you in the personal way and the professional way. Of course, it happens. But you know, we are not paying anything. We are promising a lot of work and hard work, because it's organizing the best, biggest WordPress event in the world, one of the biggest open source communities in the world. Even everything is really documented, and we know how the process works, Lesley. You know how it works.
Yes.
This is work and work and work and communication and good vibes and atmosphere every time. Even you don't have a good day. You are in front of a team. You are in front of people that is giving their time, professional and personal time, for doing something extremely well and important. So,
yeah. So the things that we told people when we recruited them were that we would work a bunch, but that we would have fun, and that it would be a good atmosphere. That's a promise that, you know, Monjo and I make to our organizers and to each other, really. You know, I have a strong personal, what is a principle, really, that if I'm doing something as a volunteer, the very second I stop having fun or stop remembering the fun or, you know, what the goal is, I quit. Because life is short and I have so many other things I would rather do, like play with my plants and my children and my dog. So we have to promise the fun. It doesn't mean it'll be fun the whole time, but yeah.
Lesley, you name first the plants and your family.
My name sounds awful. Don't tell them. This is being recorded.
And this is the atmosphere.
Yeah.
This is the thing we want to live in a daily basis, working with our amazing organizers. Hey, we are working here. There is a problem. Let's solve it. Hey, what's happening with your plans? I see that you have one more in the, you know, we love to work. We love building great things, but at the same time, we enjoy working with people.
Yes.
Because if you have I don't know, maybe you don't like that part, maybe working a volunteer thing is not the best idea for you. But if you like and enjoy knowing people, working and building things together, this is your place. So,
and if you have, as I do, opinions, as I say, with a capital O, I have opinions. I have opinions about how things should be done. I have opinions about how things should be communicated. If you also have opinions with a capital O, share those opinions with a group like this, because it is often when we get into this situation where we could go this way or we could go this way, it's whoever has the strongest opinion and can convince everyone else that gets to do it the way they want. So that's really gratifying. It's really fun.
Yeah.
So the next point here is about team member commitment. One of the things that happens, especially I think in a volunteer group, is that this idea to be involved in this sounded really good when you submitted your application.
Yeah.
And your life looked one way, but then as the event is organized, your life might change, you lose interest, whatever. And so commitment can wane. And we see this every year. Every year, one or two people, something happens, or they just lose interest. So we try to remind people of their commitment. We try to keep the atmosphere good so that you want to be committed. You want to come back next week and find out what's going on. Yeah. But also, if it becomes clear that people cannot see through their commitment, we replace them as fast as possible.
Yes.
Get on with it.
Yeah, no hard feelings, no, nothing about that. It's just being organized because it's a team group, it's a teamwork. And if we are going to be as fast as the slowest because of time or their family commitment or whatever, part of the team. So we need to see in advance if someone is not happy or they feel it's not for them, but they are doing it even. Yeah. So let's we finally we add quickly. Yes. If we can. Sometimes communication is not as fast as we can, but finally we found a way to solve it. As always. Mm-hmm. And yes, we need to explain people that 95, I don't know, 91 or 99. But most of the work is back office. Most of the work is not in front of a camera. Most of the work is working. In a team and working.
That's right.
Something that we promise, and is one of our main commitments, Lesley, we help everyone. Yeah. Because, you know, as Murphy Law say, shit happens. But we are there always, always. And this is one of our main tasks. So just to manage people's expectations.
That's right.
Is to say, hey, this is hard work, but you are going to work with a lot of amazing people. And always you need help, you will have it. Yeah. Always there is no a chance to not receiving anything from us. No, there's no chance for that. Yeah. Always. There is always helping. If we are, as globals are not, there is a team lead or someone that is going to help.
Yep. Speaking of managing expectations, Moncho, I think we may have already used up all of our time. It's already an hour after the presentation, the whole presentation started for me. Have we used up our
Hi. Yes, we are out of time, but this was really great information, and I know you have more of it to give. This is being recorded, so Valentina, I believe we can share the recording with everyone later. I think what I would love, if possible, there was a question, so I'd love to get that answered if you both have some time, and then maybe we can, if there are any other questions, we can invite people to reach out to you through Twitter, if that's okay. I know you have all this other great information as well, so Valentina, what do you suggest here?
Yeah, I mean, if we could get the copy of the presentation that we can share out, we will obviously have the recording till here, and then anything else, people can grab it from the presentation. But yeah, that would be the best way, I think.
Excellent. All right, so I'm just going to read this question. It's from Piper, and they say, as I understand it, something always goes wonky when planning these things, so backup plans are important. Yes, they are. What type of plans did you have in place? And in retrospect, was there a plan that you needed that you wish you had in place? Oh, Lesley, you are muted.
Being online was our first backup plan, actually. So we sort of were like, we are pretty sure we are not going to be able to be in person, so let's go ahead and plan this whole thing as our backup plan. We would obviously prefer to be in person. We don't think that's going to happen. So that was our first. I think our second is that we always, for our teams, suggest that our team leads select more people than they need to get the job done, because we know that we will have attrition. We know that people will fall off because of health or job or lack of interest or whatever. And then the final one that comes to mind, and Moncho, maybe you could talk about this, is the backup plan that we had in case our speakers didn't show on because we decided this was a completely live event, no recorded presentations.
Yeah, because online events depends on connectivity, depends on many things out of our scope, that sometimes things happen. So we have two different type of backups. Backups of if finally a speaker don't show up. So we have a backup speaker with a specific topic. And at the same time, imagine that in the middle of a presentation, something happens. So we have videos and we have content, specific content, ready. Ready is one single click and start to streaming it. Ready in case something's happening with the most common incident, which is always related to connectivity, something like that.
And those so the backup content, we did have the hilarious suggestion that someone could play Fortnite as the backup content live. We said, that's a good idea, but maybe we could come up with something better. And what we chose instead was the recordings from previous WordCamps. So we had the team come up with their favorite presentations from previous WordCamps, and we just had those all ready to go in case we needed them. Amazingly, we didn't need any of them. The presentations worked perfectly.
I think for the first time, because last year we had to use it, and in Berlin, I had to use because I was leading. I think we need 5 backup speakers. 5, not 1 or 2, no, but 5. Because in the last week, a lot of people finally didn't do it. Finally, so but we were ready, and this is one of the main ones, the content.
Moncho, will you go to the final slide so that people can see our contact info in case any of you want to talk with us some more? We're happy to. We have our email addresses and our Twitter handles here, and we're very, very contactable.
I'm going to use flight mode for my cell phone because it's doing a lot of noise at this moment.
All right. Well, Moncho and Lesley, thank you so much for being here with us today and for sharing all of this really amazing information from organizing WordCamp Europe this year. I think this information was excellent and can be used in a lot of organizing teams. So thank you.
Thank you for having us. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for having us, Angela, Valentina. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. And a big round of applause to Andrew as well. Her first event with CMX Connect Madrid. She did amazing. And thank you both so much. I saw that you had a few extra slides. So with the replay, what we can do is when you play the replay, if you can just stop the video on the slide, and that way you can read what's on the slide and move to the next one. That's what I would do when we share it. Now, just a few things before we wrap up. We want to let you know what's happening next here at CMX Connect Madrid. We're actually going to be taking a break in August for the very first time in 2 years. We need a break. Lots of people are taking vacations, and it just seems like the right time. But we will be back in September, and we are planning an in-person event in Madrid that will be during CMX Summit. So, I mentioned the hybrid component. We will be attempting to do something. We're not sure what it's going to be yet, but we are planning for that. And I think we're planning for Wednesday, the 1st of September, which is the middle day of the summit. So look out for more details for that. We'll be sharing it, everywhere, as always, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Slack, everywhere possible. But you can stay in touch with us in the meantime. We do have a Facebook group called CMX Connect Madrid. We have neglected it for the past year, I'll be honest, but we are going to be reigniting it and getting the conversations going now that we've got Angela on the team. And of course, you can connect with us all on social media, as well as CMX as well. And looking forward to seeing you at the summit and our in-person event, whatever that is, in September. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful Wednesday and a good summer, and we will see you very soon.